Around the parking lot, they got the produce boxes. I'm pretty sure this is, older stuff. But there's a squirrel right here that is just helping itself to all of the leftovers. Cute squirrel. There's a placard here. Give you a brief history of monkey. There's the main entrance. Here's the admissions. Now the entrance is through these doors, and the exit is in the same spot. So I asked first thing if they had hats, and we do not have hats at the moment. So no hats, but I'll see about getting a magnet or something a little bit later. Just gonna go through the doors to start. And right outside the doors is their snack bar. And there's some seating out here. So in addition to the map, there's arrows. Looks like there's arrows pointing to different areas. Hey everybody, Tom here for Tom's Road Trip, and I'm in South Miami, Florida, and today I'm visiting Monkey Jungle. This is a zoological park. The cool thing about this place is the monkeys in the area that they are located in the property run free, and the humans are in cages, meaning the pathway is surrounded by a cage, and the monkeys are free in their environment, which is really cool. So like I said, I got my paper map that I'm going to show you in just a moment. I was told a portion of the park is not accessible. Apparently they're doing some renovation work. They've had damage in the past, so they're saying. So once I show you the map, we're going to see where to go. And alright, so I got the paper map here at the entrance. There's a couple animal presentations. It's close to this time, so I'm gonna head over there, and then I'll come back. I also purchased 2 boxes of monkey food. Got some craisins and some raisins. Alright, up first we got a hi Kith Macaw. Hi. Hi, pretty baby. There's one of the monkeys. I was just bouncing up and down trying to get my attention. Like, hey! How you doing? Okay. See, there's these little dishes here. You put the raisins in, and they'll raise it up. Okay, I just put some raisins. Alright, just raising it up. You guys know exactly what to do. Good stuff, huh? Yeah, pretty good? There we go. And the dish goes back down. Alright, so back to the bird. Because I was showing you the macaw first, and the monkey was wanting my undivided attention. Alright, next up we got a Moluccan cockatoo. Hi, pretty bird. Hi. Hi, pretty bird. Hi. How you doing? See? Yeah, we like to show off a little bit. We got those cool orange feathers on the back of its head. Yeah, so the monkeys have access to all this above. So along a lot of the pathways, the monkeys are all above and we're down below, so we're not technically actually in cages. We got a southern two-toed sloth.
Blasts out whatever's there.
There's a sloth habitat.
No water can go this way. Yeah. Only.
I see lots of turtles in here. Lots of turtles. Let me see if I can find a sloth though. Kind of look up above. Alright, so I'm looking all over and I am not seeing the sloth. There's lots of cool turtles in here though. And there is another habitat like right next door, because the sloth sign is like in between the two. So I'm not seeing the sloth in here either. So I'll check back. So the pathways are mostly mulch, but that should be okay for strollers and wheelchairs. Got Java or crab eating macaque. This is the water. Oh, there they are. All right, above. These guys won't go in the water and swim. Got lots of little fish in here. There's also some koi. These are cute. Cute little monkeys. Hey baby, how you doing? Monkey. Got resting locations right here, and a couple of vending machines. Some very pretty koi fish. There's vending machines here for fish food and monkey food, which are sunflower seeds. Alright, got sulfur crested cockatoo. I believe this is a secondary habitat because I'm pretty sure the other one that I saw was also a sulfur crested. But this one has a good sized habitat for one bird. Alright, got rhinoceros iguana. Yeah, look at that. It's a big old iguana. Just chilling out in the sun. Oh, we got sulcata tortoise. Hey guys. Or ladies. Or tortoises.
You can feed them.
Ew. Cool deal. So my favorite type of tortoise, in case you weren't aware, I do have one of these types of tortoises at home. He's currently housed in my front yard temporarily while my backyard fence is being replaced when I get back from my little mini road trip. In which time he'll go back to the backyard. My front yard is fenced as well, so he's perfectly safe. And his name is Sheldon. And he's about the size of the one there on the right. Got another one over here. This is what the rhinoceros iguana. A couple other tortoises in here. Alright, right by the iguana and tortoises, they have this really large habitat. Does not appear to be used at the moment, because there's no signage and there's no sign of any critter that would be in here. And there's a ladder in there, so it looks like they are doing some maintenance work on this habitat. And right by it is another empty habitat. And there's another habitat where I don't see a sign, but there are birds in here. Hi.
Hi.
Well, look at that.
Hi.
Hi. These are Amazon parrots. I believe that's what they are. Hello. Well, I know that from yesterday, my attraction I went to. Yellow-headed Amazon, I think they're called. You're a pretty bird, aren't you? Yeah. An African gray parrot. There's the parrot habitat. Oh, there we go. It's over there at its feeder, having some food. There's metal over the food dishes. I guess that's to keep rain out, so I didn't see it. Didn't see the bird. Next up, we got coppery titi. This is their habitat. And the way the sun is shining right now, it's like right on the mesh. Alright, you can actually see them. Hopefully this shows up on my camera. I see oh, there's another one. Just poke his head out. And all their boxes have little heat lamps in them. That's why this mesh is for the animal's safety. It does make it difficult to see the animal. Looks like we got another empty habitat. We're going across this little bridge, and apparently part of it is paved, or got the stones. And I come upon yet another empty habitat. It's like they have usually have a lot of different birds. There's one of the pathways that are blocked off. Except we got Diana monkeys. Here we go. And there's a tube there where you can put your monkey food in there. Oh, there we go. Wow, very nice colorations, these guys. Oh, it's the Amazonian rainforest. Right. So it's another spot where we are actually in basically a cage. And looks like the animals have free reign for this area. This area's got squirrel monkey and black-capped capuchins. Alright, this place offers guided tours where if you're on the guided tour, you're actually able to go inside where all of the monkeys are. That was $150. I chose the self-guided tour, which was $20, because I didn't see, with half the park closed, it didn't seem worth the money to do this, the guided tour. So I do hear voices in there, so there is a tour group in there. So all of these monkeys are going to be focused on the people that are in there. But I'll keep looking, and I will come back. Get a squirrel monkey up above. There we go. There we go. Just above there. Yeah. So Yeah, there's several of them in this spot. Hi, baby. Not a baby. It's. These are full-grown squirrel monkeys. They're just extremely small. Extremely small. Squirrel monkey. There's squirrel monkey. Squirrel monkeys. We got another one over there. There we go. They are super cute. Yeah, several over here also. They're climbing up the trees. And they go over there. All over. See, Leigh's got food, so. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Look at that, See? See? There we go. That's what all gonna show up. Oh my goodness. Yep, they're all showing up. They're all showing up now. Yeah, look at
He took his break and he's going up top.
Those are smart ones. Those are smart ones. They take their food and run. Oh my God, they're so cute. Yeah, several of them grab their snack and they go up the tree. There's plenty of yummies there for everybody. Plenty of yummies for everybody. All right, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Monkey Jungle's Amazonian Rainforest. My name is Carlos, and for the next few minutes, we're having a key problem. Give me 1 sec. There we go. Yes, to get the food over there. All right, now we're back in business. For the next couple of minutes, I'm going to talk to you guys about the history of this place, about the animals. But before I do, a couple of quick reminders. One, just so you know, one of our local universities, Florida International University, FIU, is doing observational research on the monkeys. They're recording them. So you're going to see some students that are in there with them. They're recording the monkeys, not you guys. You guys will not come out on their film footage. They're trying to see how the monkeys grasp and eat. So that's what's going on there. As far as this presentation, I know that you guys paid good money today to look at the monkeys, not to look at Carlos. So don't try to be polite. Don't look at me. I know you're here to see the monkeys. Just give me your ears, give them your eyes. Everything will work out in the end. Toward the end of the presentation, I'll open it up for questions. I'm going to be honest, that is the funnest part of my day. I've done this presentation 10,000 times, but your questions, that I don't know. So I hope you guys are curious. I'd love to get some questions. But let's get to it. So the rainforest that you're standing in right now, this part of Monkey Jungle was started in 1950. Now, Monkey Jungle was started in the 1930s. But the gentleman that started Monkey Jungle in the 1930s, Joseph Dumond, in 1950, he turned the park over to his son. So in 1950, Frank Dumond takes over. Frank Dumond wants to be different from Dad. So where Joseph had focused on Africa and Asia, Frank decides to tackle South America. So we set aside 5 acres. That's how big this part of the park is. We bulldoze it, and Frank Dumond moves to Iquitos, Peru. For 5 years, Frank, living in Iquitos, Peru, ships us every seed, nut, palm, plant, shrub, and tree he can. After 5 years, we have enough in the soil that we're confident we're going to grow a rainforest. So we turn on the sprinklers, Frank moves back to Miami, and we fast forward. 30 years later, 1985, this place is incredible. If you had been lucky enough to stand here between 1985 and 1992, you would not recognize this place. In those 7 years, if you stood here at Monkey Jungle and you looked up to the sky, you would not be able to see it. The trees had formed a perfect canopy that blanketed this place. It was dark everywhere you looked because the sun couldn't reach the ground. It rained every single day because humidity could not escape. So we had this 24-hour cycle where water would evaporate in the early afternoon and fall back down in the late afternoon.
But all of that ended August 24th, 1992. Who knows why that day is special?
Hurricane Andrew?
Hurricane Andrew.
Yeah.
Hurricane Andrew was a Category 5, wind speeds higher than 212 miles an hour, and it wiped us off the face of the earth. In the span of 8 to 9 hours, this place went from Brazil to Iowa. 100% of the trees died. Now, South American trees are beautiful. South American trees are enormous. But South American trees have never had nature push against them. So their roots were not meant to hold the ground. Their roots were meant to search out for water. Every tree died. And the roughest part about that for us is all of these trees that we worked so hard to import in the 50s had become illegal to import in the 90s. So we had to start from scratch. We couldn't even get the same seeds back. Now, it's been 30 years since Hurricane Andrew, and you have no idea how much it hurts me to say those words because I was a kid during Hurricane Andrew. Here we go. It's been 30 years since, and you can see this place is nothing like it used to be. Today, this isn't a South American rainforest. Today, this is my backyard on steroids. The majority of the plants are South Florida. There's a little bit of South America that grew back, and there's a lot of exotic stuff that blew in from the nurseries that has taken root. But the monkeys have adapted. The monkeys have thrived. We've got 2 species that call this place home. You can see the squirrel monkeys. These are the little yellow ones that are all over near the baskets. You can see a capuchin monkey, which is the bigger one in this basket here right now. And please take note of the capuchin because these guys rarely stick around. We only have 5, so 5 monkeys in 5 acres means good luck. So anytime that they're around, we take advantage of it. I'm going to talk about them a little bit later, but at least this way you know that you've seen one. But behind the capuchins in the trees, you'll see the little yellow squirrel monkeys. And these monkeys are the reason the rainforest exists. When Frank Dumont began the project of creating a rainforest, the reason he did it was he wanted a population of squirrel monkey. So by the mid to late 60s, when the plants and trees had grown just tall enough, we brought in squirrel monkeys, and Frank Dumont realized that Monkey Jungle had become the first place on Earth to get baby squirrel monkeys in captivity. Before Monkey Jungle, nobody could get the little squirrel monkey to breed. And that's because squirrel monkeys were hiding a very big secret that no one knew about. So before Monkey Jungle was able to do it, every other facility would get a male and a female, put them together in a cage, and guess what? No babies. And then they would say, well, you know what? Men are gross. All right, men sometimes need variety. Put a male and 3 females. No babies. And then they would say, well, you know what? Sometimes men are dumb. They got to fight. Put in 3 males, 1 female, and the most dominant one, no babies. And they would say, well, you know what? Maybe the vibe is off. Put in 5 males, 5 females, turn on some music, and guess what? No babies. Monkey Jungle was the first. And the reason we were able to do it, we didn't know it at the time, is because we offered the squirrel monkeys something they absolutely needed. Space. Before us, nobody wasted giving such a small monkey such a large space. But squirrel monkeys needed it because for most of the year, squirrel monkeys live in very strict same-sex groups. The males live with the males, the females live with the females, and they do not come together unless you bring food. If you bring food, it's every monkey for themselves. But once their bellies are full, they split up. And the reason squirrel monkeys have learned to do this, our best guess, is survival. And what I mean by that is what's true for humans is true for squirrel monkeys. One sex is much more dominant than the other. One sex is much more aggressive than the other, and if we're going to be honest with each other, one sex is much more abusive than the other. So for survival, the males have learned to hide. For most of the year, the females beat the snot out of the males. It is not fair. These little guys are getting the snot kicked out of them up and down the floor.
It's not expecting that.
Now that changes in winter. In winter, that's bro time. So when winter hits, temperatures drop, daylight decreases, low pressure becomes high pressure, testosterone in the squirrel monkey explodes. So for the months of late November, December, January, early February, the male squirrel monkeys grow about 50% in muscle mass. It's called fatting. The males get jacked. That's their chance to breed. Now, 3 main things happen during this time of year. The first thing is the males become much more cute. For most of the year, they're skinny, they're scrawny, they're giving the females the ick. Other thing it does is it makes them much more courageous. The males feel like they're on top of the world, they're approaching everything that walks, and any guy that's lucky enough to find a partner in this world will tell you it is a numbers game. Just keep going until you find one that thinks you're funny, and then you're usually set. And then the last thing it does for the males is it helps them survive rejection, because the females are not nice about turning them down. The females are trying to rip their face off. So you need to have all the muscle mass you can to survive the constant rejection you're going to face in this world. But assuming you're lucky, 6 months later, which would be June, July, we get baby squirrel monkeys. So if you're lucky enough to visit during that time of year and you come back to Monkey Jungle, you're going to see the females have these tiny babies on their back. And then for the next 6 months, mom is going to be nursing her baby. But at 6 months old, which would be this time of year, next year, babies become independent. Now this is an interesting time in mom's life. Mom has to first discover if she has a son or a daughter. If mom has a son, then she has to communicate to her son, I'm your mother, I love you, but you go live with the males. Get away from me, I never want to see you again, get a job, good luck. If mom has a daughter, then the conversation is slightly different. Don't climb on me. If you try to ride my back, I'm going to bite you. You're on your own. But stick around, because as your mother, I'm going to continue to breed. And raising your little brothers and sisters is going to be a lot of work. I need you to help me babysit. And in the beginning, you're not going to know what you're doing, so I'm only going to let you watch your siblings for an hour. But as you get older, you're going to help me for 2 hours, for 3, for 4. And by the time you're helping me babysit for 5, 6 hours, you would have learned enough that nature has decided it's time for you to be a mom. And the lessons that you've learned by helping me are going to give you what you need to raise your own babies. And in that way, the population can continue to thrive as you see that it does today. The other species we have in this rainforest are the capuchins, and I told you they wouldn't be here. So the capuchins have taken off, but if you can look at this picture, these were the monkeys that were just here. They're still in there, they just don't tend to stick around. Now, capuchins are geniuses. These little monkeys, you can train them to do just about anything. So it wasn't too long ago in our society that if you traveled to a circus or a fair, you would see a capuchin wearing a cute outfit, and as someone turned an organ, the capuchin would work the crowd, tip its cap, and ask for money. Not long after that, capuchins became very popular in Hollywood. So if you've ever seen a movie or a TV show with a monkey, and I'm talking the show Friends, George of the Jungle, Indiana Jones, Night at the Museum, Pirates of the Caribbean, The Hangover, the list goes on and on. Capuchins are what you use. They're very social, they're very intelligent, they can be trained. Luckily, as a society, we've moved away from animal exploitation. Not all of us, but most of us. Today, capuchins are used as a partnership, as service animals for humans. The same way that dogs help the blind, capuchins help the paralyzed. So there's a nonprofit organization out of Boston, Massachusetts. It's called the Helping Hands Project. And every year, the Helping Hands Project tries to turn out 4 or 5 capuchin monkeys for the quadriplegic and the paraplegic. These monkeys undergo a long training process, a long socialization process, but since the monkeys are used to being part of societies and collaborating, they make great service animals. They form a partnership with their human, and they will do the most incredible things. They will operate an electric wheelchair, they'll grab a specific food item from a refrigerator, they will microwave it. They'll put the dirty dish in the dishwasher, they'll drop in a Tide Pod, they'll shut the door, they'll turn it on.
Wow.
They'll turn on the TV, they'll change the channel for you, they'll adjust the volume, they'll grab a book, they'll turn the pages, they'll open the front door when someone knocks, they'll bring you the cell phone when someone calls. They'll use the bathroom on commands because their humans are sometimes limited, so their humans may know for the next 3 hours it's now or never. So I need you to go. And they will evacuate whatever they've been holding. And they're even trained to recognize emergencies. If the capuchin sees blood, if the capuchin sees a seizure, if the capuchin sees someone not breathing, the capuchin will pick up a phone and dial 911. And then it will start screaming into the phone. And whoever's working dispatch on the other end is gonna send units. And since they know how to open front doors, they can let them into the domicile, and they do save lives in that way. Now, capuchins and squirrel monkeys live together here at Monkey Jungle the same way they do in the wild. They live in the same forest, but they don't live in the same height. Scientifically, we call it strata. But what that means is squirrel monkeys own the ground. From the floor to 12 feet up is the world of the squirrel monkey. Then if you go a little bit above that, from about 15 to 30 feet is the world of the capuchin. Now this way they can stay out of each other's hair but still have the same territory. Now it actually does affect their diet. Squirrel monkeys living on the ground are going to have a slightly different diet. So if you're a squirrel monkey on the ground, you're going to get a lot of the ripe fruit that falls. You're going to get a lot of veggies, because veggies tend to grow from the ground. You're going to get a lot of insects, you're going to get a lot of worms, you're going to get a lot of lizards for protein. Capuchins, being above that, their diet is slightly different. Not too many veggies, but they do get some. A lot of ripe fruit, because that's where you're usually going to find it, in about that height of the forest. And then as far as protein, where squirrel monkeys are getting insects and worms, capuchins are going to get rodents and birds. Capuchins are geniuses. You have to stimulate their body and their mind. So capuchins actively enjoy hunting. So they're going to use ambush tactics and trapping tactics to get a hold of birds, rodents. They'll kill them, they'll skin them or pluck their feathers, and they'll even use them as trophies. Wow. Capuchins have prehensile tails. Their tails work the same way your arms do. So with their tails, they'll grab a trophy that they recently killed, and they'll parade their territory with it held up high, so that every other capuchin can see how effective they are as hunters. There's no sweeter joy in the world than bragging rights, and that holds even true for them. So, with that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. That concludes the presentation back here at our Amazon. Thank you, thank you. Before I turn it over to questions, I do want to let you know we've got another very cool presentation for you guys at 12:15 in the center of the park. So where you see the benches and the bleachers and the pond of water, we're going to have swimming monkeys there at 12:15. Ooh. But before you guys take off, are there any questions? Are there any curiosities? Is there anything you guys would like to know? Please.
What's the average age of the two?
This is one of my favorite questions. What's the average age of the monkeys? Let's start off with the wild. So in the wild, squirrel monkeys are going to live into their early to mid-teens. 13, 14, 15, that's a good lifespan for a squirrel monkey. A capuchin's going to live into the late 20s. 25, 27, good age for a capuchin in the wild, pushing 30. Here at Monkey Jungle, we effectively double their lifespans. So squirrel monkeys here at Monkey Jungle, where there are no predators, where there's health care, our squirrel monkeys can live into their late 20s. It's not terribly uncommon for us to have a 28, 29-year-old squirrel monkey, which is double what they get in the wild. Wow. Our capuchins are as a colony, a few of them are pushing 40s, possibly 50s. Wow. So we're effectively doubling that lifespan too.
Yeah, because they got access to food constantly.
They have access to food, they have health care, and there's no predators.
Yeah.
So it pushes what the natural limits of lifespan are.
That's usually what happens with the wild animals.
Usually the wild animals develop a limp, and when you're the one that has a limp, you're the one that's next on the chopping block for someone else's dinner.
Gotcha.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Very, very informative. I enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
You got it, guys. I'm going to stick.
I got the Diana monkey. This is right up front. The Rainforest where I just was. All right, that was a pretty cool presentation. Now, I asked the gentleman giving all the information on the microphone permission beforehand if he didn't mind me filming him, and he said absolutely, go right ahead. People that are doing presentations, you need to be courteous to them also. I've had instances at some of the places I've been to where they didn't want to be on film. They didn't want me sticking a camera in their face. So I made sure I filmed other stuff, but you still heard what they were saying. This gentleman was very, very kind to allow me to film them. They're all about sharing all the information that they have about the animals, and that was pretty cool. So found, got a great view of the capuchin. Evidently, I've been saying it incorrectly all this time. Didn't even know. But hopefully, it shows up good on the camera. Looking through 2 layers of mesh. But it was actually pretty neat. I enjoyed it. Alright, back at the African gray parrot, got a much better look. There we go. Yeah, because the sun was like right blocking a lot of the view, and the sun is moved behind a cloud. Very pretty bird. Alright, back at the Capri Titi. Same thing, the way the sun was shining. So now you get to see one up right along the side. There's at least 3 in this habitat. Here are cute animals also. And we get some more birds. You got Queen of Bavaria conure. Conures are so unbelievably colorful. Hi! These ones are more yellow than anything else. Golden conure that I've seen the most. You have a nice rainbow, you know, color. Very bright. Pretty pretty birds. Alright, so the pathway I'm on, this part is blocked off. I'm not sure when this will reopen. You know, Florida is susceptible to hurricanes, as you know. So anytime there's a significant storm impacting, you know, of course, the east coast of Florida, there's going to be damage, like we heard during the presentation in the Amazon forest area about Hurricane Andrew, where it decimated this place back in '92. Got mandrill. You see the one mandrill. And now just laying down. Got a second one. Didn't even notice initially. Its head peeking out. You see all the cool colors on its nose. One looks a little younger than the other. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. Don't want to see monkey hiney.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jazz, and welcome to Monkey Jungle's Wild Monkey Swimming Pool. At this time, I do ask for everyone to please sit on the bleachers and to remain doing so throughout the presentation. Once I'm finished, I'll go ahead and open up the floor to any questions that you all have. Then afterwards, you are more than welcome to approach the wall and get a closer look of our monkeys and the fish in the pond. Please keep in mind, though, there is no sitting, standing, or leaning over this wall. It's very easy to fall in. And we also have an electrical wire on the inside. Now, in this area, we do have around 140 monkeys all spread out in the 7-acre compound. Now, these monkeys, they are not tamed or trained, so we do not have any control over how many show up, but we do have a few here hanging around. Now these monkeys, just like me, they are food motivated, so what I'm going to do is ring this triangle right here to let them know that it is feeding time.
The old dinner bell. It's like on a farm.
Alright, so now as we get to learn about the monkeys, I am going to toss out some food for them so that way they can slowly start making their way out. The species that you do see before you, they are called Java macaques, also known as crab-eating macaques. The first name that they have, Java macaques, is given to them because of where they originate, which is from the island of Java, and that can be found in Southeast Asia. They're also known as crab-eating macaques because in the wild, they do like to dive and swim for crabs and shrimp. Even though all monkeys do know how to swim, not many species enjoy it as much as the macaques do. And for the most part, you'll see the juveniles swimming and splashing and playing in the water. As for the older ones, well, they do tend to get a little lazy, so you will catch them hanging around in the grass, sun tanning and such. Now, unless it's a really, really delicious treat, then they will go ahead and take a dive for that food. Now, in the early 1930s, Joseph Dumont, who is the founder of Monkey Jungle, he really wanted to study these monkeys up close. And instead of going to Southeast Asia, he decided to bring them over here. Now, back then, we started off with 6 Java macaques. And as I mentioned before, we have about 140 to this day in 2025. And I can tell you right now, that 140 are all descendants of the original 6. Now, what really piqued his interest was the fact that these monkeys have a social structure. And what that is known as is a dominance hierarchy. Or a pecking order. So what that means is that these monkeys all have their individual ranks starting at monkey number 1, and that is going to be the most dominant alpha male. Then under him, we have monkey number 2, 3, 4, and so forth. Oh, really quick, because we will talk about this later. So if you check out this female right here, she does have a baby hanging from her belly. Now pay attention to the coloration of her baby, at least the head. We're going to talk about that a little later. Now, as far as for the alpha or the leader of the troop, he does have a lot of responsibilities, and it is his job to maintain the peace for the most part within his troop, and that requires him breaking up any fights if they get too serious, or even ending them. If there's low-ranking monkeys who step out of line, it's his job to put them back in their place. He also must protect them from any outside predators, and this can be macaques from other troops or predators. And with all that hard work, the leader does get plenty of rewards. He will get first choice of a place to sit, sleep, walk, first choice of food, and more importantly for him, he does get first choice of smells. And you're probably wondering, how on earth do these monkeys get their ranks? And that's within a couple of ways. First and foremost, these monkeys are pretty much born into their ranks. For example, if you have a high-ranking female, all of her offspring are going to be high-ranking monkeys. And as far as for low-ranking females, well, she's going to have low-ranked monkeys. Another way that it can change is by fighting for it, and that's where the friendship and the bonds are really important for this species. It's very important for the males to have as many friends as possible, because in order to win these battles, especially against a higher ranking monkey, he needs to make sure that he has those friends to back him up, because guess what? That higher ranking monkey, he also has some friends that are ready to throw down no matter what. And even though these monkeys do tend to battle it out for status, it's mainly just to get to the point to assert their dominance. It's never really fight to the death. And then also too, if they have a really good leader, that leader will bring it up and pretty much calm everyone down and put them in their place as well. Now, there's different ways. Oh, look, we got an iguana who came out for some delicious fruit. Very nice.
Invasive iguanas, yeah.
Now, there's also a way that their ranks can change. So we mentioned about them fighting for a higher spot. Now, it's possible for a higher ranking male, especially a leader, for him to be overthrown. And kind of touching back as far as for them making their friends. They usually make their friends when they're juveniles, just like the little ones that we see out there. Around this age, this is when they make or break most of their friendships. So if they're able to solidify those bonds at a young age, they're able to take them with them as they grow older. Now you might see from time to time as you guys pass through the park, whether you're hanging out here at the pool or maybe at the feeding cups, notice that the macaques are doing a behavior what's called grooming. You may think, wow, like they're probably picking off some juicy ticks or fleas, but that's not the case. They're actually quite clean and free of any ectoparasites. What they're actually looking for are tiny little particles of skin called dandruff. And I know it sounds gross, but for them, it's a salty, crunchy snack similar to a Lay's potato chip. Yes, disgusting, gross. But for them, it's very delicious. And grooming is actually one of the popular behaviors within this species that does once again solidify the bonds between one another, helping your friends or your siblings or your mother stay clean is a very good way to keep those alliances. The lifespan of a Java macaque can range from 20 to 25 years. The males do tend to mature from the ages of 6 to 8 years old, and females much sooner, between 3 to 5 years old. Typically, the females will have one infant at a time. It's rare, but it can happen where they will give birth to twins. Their gestation period is about 6 months, and birthing season will be anywhere from May to September. And as I mentioned, we did see, let's see, is she still out there? I'm trying to spot Mama with the baby. I think she grabbed what she needed and she headed out. So now, kind of touching base on oh, there she goes, right up there. You guys can all look up at the rock at top. You see Mama with the baby. So can you guys see how at the top of the baby's head their fur is black? Okay, so that is the remaining coloration of what's called a natal coat. When these infants are fresh out the womb, their fur is jet black and they have bright pink skin. And there's a lot of privileges that come with the infant having this natal coat. All the mothers, they are an exception to the ranking system. And this actually allows lower ranking females to socialize, to feed, and just simply hang out with the higher ranking females. And this allows them better food at a time when nutrition is absolutely essential. Then over time, within a few months, the coloration will slowly start to disappear, as we can see with this baby right here. So it's only in the top of its head where we see the last bit of that natal coat, and on the rest of its body we see that grayish brown color that we can spot on the adult macaques out here. Alrighty folks, so in the wild, these monkeys, they are known for raiding birds' nests for their eggs, but here at Monkey Jungle, we like to give them a special treat, which is hard-boiled eggs. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to toss in 2 hard-boiled eggs in both sides of the pond. Now, at this time, it's very, very important that everyone stays seated because standing up or approaching the wall can intimidate the monkeys and they'll simply back off. So by tossing in the eggs, we may get a chance to see them go for a swim.
Can we clap?
Yeah, if you want to clap after they swim, yeah, it's fine. She looks like she's ready.
Stand కూడా పడకూడదు మన instructions. You should not even stand.
Sit, please. Good God, people.
All right, so we got one woman in.
Damn idiot people. Ooh. Got the egg.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and take a step back so that way I don't intimidate the monkeys either. All right, so it looks like this guy's gonna go in. If I can remember correctly, I believe this one, his name is Elfo. As you, I don't know if you guys can see, but he kind of has a little mohawk, so he's a cool guy. All right, he's thinking about it. So these monkeys, they tend to get spooked out by the koi fish, even though they're known for hunting crabs. So he's just being very cautious to see, and also he's trying to spot where the egg went. And there he goes. Oh. There we go.
Got his bath for day.
Awesome. So we got to see 2 swim. That's amazing. Awesome. And so I hope you're clapping for the monkeys, because I'm not the star here. So does anyone have any questions? I would be more than happy to hear what you all are curious about. Yes. In the whole entire park, it's going to be, if not 300, a little bit more. Yes. Yes. So the question is once at what age? Okay, no problem. So usually it's around 6 months old when the infants start to lose their natal coat. So once again, that's the black fur and the pink skin. Once they lose that coloration, the mother and that infant will lose their special feeding privileges and go back to the mother's original status. Now, and also too, let's say if she later on in life, let's say if one of her sons were to upgrade their rank later on in life, her ranking will improve as well. Then any babies from that point on, they will assume that new status. But any babies that she's had beforehand, they continue living in their original rank. Yes. Do they go over here? No, and it's mainly because they're scared of the koi fish. Yes. Yes. No, you have a question? Maybe later? Sorry. Anyone else have questions? Yes.
How many iguanas you guys got in here? Any idea?
Oh, iguanas. I want to say there's anywhere between like 1 or 2 that come out every now and then. I'm not sure if the big guy is around still, but there is a big iguana. His name is Bruce, and he's ginormous. And usually the keepers will spot him in different areas around the park.
Okay, I know they're opportunistic, so.
Oh, absolutely. If you back when we had a gorilla in presentations, the gorilla, he would try to Hulk smash the iguanas for taking his sweet potato.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. I think it's because the koi fish are really big and it just spooks them out. And also too, even though they do like to swim, they are vulnerable or weak sometimes when they're in the water, and they can't defend themselves as easily underneath the water. So usually when they go swim for crabs and shrimp, it's a quick dive, get what they need, and go ahead and jump out of the water. There we go. All right, back to business. Any other questions? All of these have been absolutely amazing. All right, all good? All right, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Well, that was a fun presentation. Like some of the people didn't listen too well. That's why I, told the one person to sit down, because he kept getting up close, even though the lady was asking. And I thought it was because he didn't speak English, but then they were speaking English to each other, so they knew exactly what the lady was saying, just being incredibly self-absorbed. Yeah, so only got the 2 koi fish left. Alright, so I inquired about the closed area on if they have any information on when it will reopen. Basically, it is down to funding. We've had several storms that did damage the area of the park. That is damaged. There is significant damage to a portion of it where a tunnel that the people walked through was damaged and it basically collapsed. So they were saying there's a lot of trees are down, a lot of structural stuff. So it's not something as simple as just cleaning up some down tree branches. So basically, it is down to funding. They're trying to come up with the funding to repair the areas and hopefully get them reopened. This habitat here does not have a sign, so I asked one of the staff walking by. These are common marmosets. Really super cute. Earlier when I walked by here, I didn't think there was anything in here because, you know, again, there's no sign. And the way the sun was shining made it very difficult to see anything in here. Just happened to see another group of people stop and looking inside, and then I saw them. Very happy to get to see them. Usually very curious. Little smaller type monkeys. Tamarins, marmosets. Alright, I also asked about the sloth. This is a sloth habitat that has all of the cool turtles. Now the sloth is inside the habitat. However, is going to be in its back, you know, nighttime habitat, you know, behind this stone facade wall. You know, they are nocturnal, so they sleep majority of the day. Just in case you've never seen a sloth. Don't think I'm going to be able to see them today. Alright, so I'm back up front towards, you know, well, towards the front. This is where all the monkeys have access up above. So I still have almost 2 full boxes of treats for them. So I just got to see if I could find some. Oh, there's one over here. Alright, back at the Heinekith macaw. Trying to get you a better look. Since the light has changed, you know, the sun. Not shining directly on the cage anymore. Alright, so I'm over by one of the dishes. Let's see if I can see one. Yeah, of course they're getting fed all day long. I do see one over there. There we go. One just came over. The same one. Got some yum-yums. Got some yum-yums. You didn't let the chain down. You forgot to let it down, sir. Alright, there we go. It was stuck at the top. Oh, there's another one right here. Here you go, Chloe. Here. Here you go. There's the, just raisins. Let's see if anybody partakes. Like I said, the one just walked by. Can't guarantee they are going to eat anything. Alright, I left my raisins in there. So I'm sure one of them will come by. Yeah, again, this is the area that is blocked off. So they are actually doing work. Yeah, because that's all new wood. So it's possible they're going to reopen these areas in phases. That is the reason why the entry fee is discounted right now. It's normally $30, it's $20. Alright, so before I leave, I'm going to show you a little bit of the gift shop. Oh, the air conditioning in here feels so nice. They do have shirts. Like I said, they do not currently have hats. Then the one gentleman said at the beginning they did have hats, they're just out. And of course, this place is going to be very popular with the young kids. So there's plenty of stuff for them that's going to be interesting to them. You know, all of the plush animals. That's typically what a good portion of gift shops are. It's going to be all plush. All right. Well, they do not have magnets. However, they do have these little picture frames. These are $6. Yeah, Monkey Jungle fossil site.
So if you decide that you do want to get the
This is interesting.
take you guys over there, I would sit on the ground, set up the cameras, and treat it the same way you did the bridge, but you're free to handle it any way you want. She knows you're good to go back there, just tell her that you want to.
Back the way I
So that's what the area used to look like. We have some other stuff here. Not to be interesting to the kids, but it's for adults. We do sell sorbet and chocolate frozen bananas.
Short and
Yeah, postcards.
hello, welcome to Monkey Jungle.
Alright everybody, that is going to do it for my visit to Monkey Jungle. This was a fun place. Like I said, almost half the park is closed temporarily. They are working on fundraising. I spoke to the gentleman at the front where I purchased my picture frame. They're not federally funded or anything like that. It's an independent place. So coming here and purchasing stuff from the gift shop, that also helps them. Of course, they have to have all the funds to feed the animals. The presentations were very nice, very informative, enjoyable, especially where the capuchin and the spider monkeys were. That was really interesting to learn about it. Again, this place is This place is very susceptible to hurricanes, being southeast Florida on the east coast. You get all those storms coming off of Africa, and a lot of times Florida, the peninsula of Florida is in its pathway. So hopefully this hurricane season 2025 is going to be nothing like last year, which was devastating to my area of Tampa Bay. Leave some comments, questions, suggestions, anything like that down below. I love hearing from everybody. If this happens to be your first video of mine that you're watching and you like things like this, I go to zoos and aquariums all over the country. I also do theme parks, amusement parks, state and national parks, and occasional quirky roadside attraction. I upload new videos every Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern. So thank you guys for watching. I really, really appreciate everybody. I'll see you next time. Bye.